Hi, hello, and welcome again everyone to another episode of Natural Juan. And this particular episode will be focused on another of Pathfinder's variant rules called Shots and Piecemeal Armor. So before we go on with that, I need to tell you guys that this is a unscripted video, so expect me to make a lot of mistakes as we go along. But other than that, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications if you would like to hear more or see more content like this. See there, I'm making mistakes already. So now, another thing. Please stand by for announcements at the end of this video because I'm going to be talking quite a bit about the future of this channel and what can happen later on. But anyway, let's put that aside and go back to our current topic. So yeah, our topic is another set of variant rules for Pathfinder 1st Edition. And yes, this is found in the Ultimate Combat book. And this is called Shots. Now, to explain to you what called shots are, I want you to think like, for example, in many adventure films or adventure movies like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, sometimes, the heroes try to aim for a weak spot on the enemy. Like, imagine Legolas the elf from Lord of the Rings, and he's gonna try to make that precious headshot on the orc leader, so the orc leader will die immediately. So this is what this is about, the called shots. This is a full round action, meaning you cannot combine it with other actions like charging or feats. It's just one full round action and you make this action. But at the same time, this means you can target a specific body part of your enemy. It can be their head, it can be maybe their heart, or maybe they're holding a weapon and you want to attack their arm and hand. That's the kind of thing this is talking about. So anyway, the rules for called shots, aside from the fact that I mentioned that it's a full round action, is there will be penalties for this thing. Like, as you can see here, there are some things that it will not work with. So for example, for damage reduction, if the damage reduction completely negates the damage for a called shot, the called shot has no effect. That's what I'm talking about. If a part of their body is well armored, it's not gonna work, right? So that's a lot of other things. And before I forget, this kind of rules, before we talked about armor as damage reduction. I already talked about that in a previous video, but this one, called shots, it can combine with that. If you want armor to be part of damage reduction, you can do that. But it also works with the traditional way that armor is handled. It will work with traditional armor class and stuff like that. So here is an example of what I'm talking about. This is this table here. See, if you aim for the chest, it's easy. For the chest area, it's just a -2. Oops. But aiming for trickier parts of the body, like the head or the vitals, the guts or a hand, it's a -5. But it's even harder if you're trying to aim for a specific small body part like an ear, an eye, a neck, or a heart. It's challenging. It's a -10. So even if, say, you have a combat bonus of +10, you have your D20 roll has to be higher than the enemy's defense or armor class. See, when I say defense, that means when you're using the armorous damage reduction variant rule. So yeah, and you also have here the effects. So the called shot just causes something. An example is like here, an arm. A called shot to an arm deals no additional damage, but for 1d4 rounds, any attack rolls, ability checks, or skill checks made using the wounded arm take a -2 penalty. A flying creature shot in the wing must make a fly check to avoid descending involuntarily. So, like your enemy is using a sword, for example, and the called shot connects. Whenever he attacks with the sword, his attack roll will have a -2. See? Next, you have a critical called shot. Critical called shot, when a called shot is confirmed as a critical hit but deals fewer than half the creature's hit points of damage, minimum 50, a critical called shot results. Critical called shots can cause ability damage, bleeding, and other serious effects. Again, let's go with an example. Here's a critical called shot. A critical hit to the arm deals 1d4 points of dexterity damage and 1d4 points of strength damage. A successful fortitude saving throw halves the ability damage, minimum 1 point, to each attribute. The target also suffers the effects of a called shot to the arm for 1d4 minutes. See? So if he's attacking, he takes 1d4, one four-sided dice roll, 1 to 4, plus a -2. So if you roll 4, if you by some bad effect you roll, by bad luck you get 4 -2, so you get a -6 on your strength damage. So whenever your character attacks, they get a -6. That's very and a -6, that is very debilitating, let me tell you. Okay, the next one is the debilitating blow. A called shot that deals half the creature's hit points of damage, minimum 50 or more, whether a critical hit or not, results in a debilitating blow that has extra effects. A debilitating blow inflicts major consequences and potentially permanent consequences. See? That's really bad. Debilitating blow. A debilitating blow to the arm deals 1d6 points of dexterity damage and 1d6 points of strength damage. The blow renders the arm useless until healed unless the target succeeds at a fortitude saving throw. If the saving throw fails by 5 or more, the arm is severed or otherwise mangled such that only regeneration or similar effects can repair it. The target also suffers the effects of a called shot to the arm if the arm remains usable for 2d6 minutes. See? See what I'm talking about? It deals 1d6 points of strength damage or your arm is completely severed. No more arm, you can't use your weapon anymore. See how devastating that is? So yeah, that's an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to called shots. That's called shots in a nutshell. There are other stuff like called shot feats here, but I'll leave it to you to discover the rest of this for yourself. For now, we're gonna move on to another set of variant rules that fits well with the called shots, and that is Piecemeal Armor. This means Piecemeal Armor means you get your armor in pieces, not in just one big set. Usually in Pathfinder, you have a full set of armor, like say, heavy plate mail. You get everything as a complete suit. But here, you get them as pieces, such as half plate here. You see the armor bonus is +8. See what I'm talking about? So when you make called shots, it's usually the armor piece that will get hit. See? Like agile plate, armor piece, you get them in pieces instead of just one big piece, so each one protects the part of your body differently. For example, like here you go, chainmail is +1. You get other stuff like plate +1. And there's the dexterity bonus that changes. You get all stuff like this. So yeah, heavy armor, banded +1. So instead of getting your armor in one set, you have them in just multiple pieces. And the benefit of this is you can also, see here, donning armor pieces, light armor piece, 2 rounds. Light torso armor piece, 5 rounds. See, and heavier armor takes longer, might take a minute or so. So, that's what I'm talking about. So, every part of your body has a different armor bonus. Now, depending if you use the traditional armor class system or armor as damage reduction, it changes completely. And since you're putting on just a small piece of your armor, you have plenty of time, or at least you know the time it takes to actually put them on. So if you're just putting on, bracelets or gauntlets and, pretend to be Wonder Woman or something, it's easier because, like it says here, you just take like light armor piece. It's just 2 rounds. And then if you try to really do it quickly, it's just 1 round. See? Very quick. Unlike if you have to put on a full set of armor. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for this episode about called shots and piecemeal armor variant rules, Pathfinder 1st edition. Now let's move on with the announcements. So, okay, as you've noticed, I've been really working hard on making content about books, but I'm also gonna do a little more content about tabletop role-playing games, especially Pathfinder. I've decided that I'm also going to do summaries on the various adventure paths of Pathfinder, starting with Rise of the Rune Lords and its first path, Burnt Offerings. That will be my first project for the summarization of Pathfinder 1st edition. And another announcement that I will be making is that after watching some videos of Dan Fan and hearing about the news about 2020 in general, it is true that I think media these days have just become too negative. Actually, if you notice, I write a lot of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror stories. You've seen A Fabula Est Princeps, which is about an inquisitor, witch hunter. There's the Death Knight show that's kind of a comedy. I'm also making Love Letters from Space, which is sci-fi, but I'm also planning to make something called Candles in the Dark next time, which is, I wouldn't call them horror stories, but they're more like reverse horror stories, if that makes sense to you. They're like creepypastas, but one that have a more uplifting theme and mood, or at least happy endings, because I think that's what we really need right now. We need more happy endings for various stories and such, because while it's true that life is hard, I know it's hard, but it's better for us to hope for something better in the future. It's better for us to believe that good things will come. Another person, Cassie Hall, she's a woman from Canada. I think she's Chinese Canadian or something. She told me the same thing, that maybe I should write more about hope, and this is my answer to that. Candles in the dark. There's also the saying that it's better to light one candle than curse the darkness. So that's exactly what you guys can look forward to on my channel, alongside my tabletop RPG content and my book content. So I hope you guys stick around. So anyway, if you do stick around, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications. I'll be seeing you all next time on my next video.